everyone, and welcome to an episode of I've Been Playing. Today we're talking about Silent Hill 2, the remake. I would think that would be obvious, but just in case. Now, I've said on this channel before that I didn't really have much faith in this remake, specifically because of Bloober Team, because while I don't think any of their games have been bad, I was never really impressed with them either. They were kind of fine at best, and the main concern of mine was how they were going to handle the mental health side of Silent Hill 2, since they don't have a great track record with doing that. For example, Blair Witch had some issues, and the end of the medium was bad. There were other parts of the medium that were less than ideal, but the ending especially was not a great message, I've gotta say. So I didn't really expect this to be anything mind-blowing or sensational. I expected it to be, like, okay at best and just a mess at worst. But I'm happy to say that so far, they've proven me wrong. I've also mentioned before on the channel that I only played Silent Hill 2 for the first time fairly recently, and by fairly recently, I think I still mean maybe 6 to 10 years ago, so not when it came out is what I meant. I think it was originally 2001, and I didn't have it at the time, and had no way to play it at the time, so I don't have the 20 years or whatever of nostalgia for it that people do, but I did still think it was a very good game. Honestly, I think it's probably one of the older games that still holds up if you play it today in its original state, certainly better than others, so aside from being accessible on modern hardware, I don't think redoing it was necessary, but I'm glad they did. The other reason I didn't have much faith in this is because all of the Silent Hill stuff that's come out recently, and especially the most recent one, that I can't remember the name of now, because no one's talking about it anymore, and the only reason people were talking about it at all, Ascension, talking about it at all, is because it was terrible. There's that. The short message was not very good. I think I said this as well. It was like 2 hours long at most, and I played an hour of it and had had enough. So, not exactly high hopes coming into this game, really, based on the other things, but they're all different studios working on stuff, I think, and so that's not really fair, but they haven't really had a good game in a while. A lot of the more recent ones, like after Silent Hill 4, they're very controversial, let's say, and most of them aren't great. Thankfully, the Silent Hill 2 remake is good, actually. It's actually decent. I'm very surprised, but I'm very glad that it's not the absolute mess I thought it was going to be. Part of that is because, from what I remember, and again, it has been a little while, they've pretty much, up to this point, beat for beat, done everything exactly the same. It looks much better. There might be a little more to the town, it might be a little bigger, I don't really know. It probably is, just based on the fact that the PS5 is not the PS2, and can have more, the game can have more in it, but it feels very much the same. The dialogue and the characters and the dialogue between them, specifically between James and the other characters, feels I'm kind of just assuming that you know what Silent Hill 2 is, I guess. We'll get there eventually. I'll do a very brief plot summary, and probably won't get into spoilers just in case, but again, it is 20 years old, so I figure if you want to know, you've played it by now, or if you want to play this new one and don't want spoilers, you're probably not watching this. Anyway, the dialogue feels the same, it's going the way I remember it. I've only played, I think, about 4 hours, I just made it into the hospital, but all of the character introductions and character interactions, they're all how I remember them. There's one thing that is not how I remember it, but I think, like, not in a bad way, something with Pyramid Head, where I went into an area and I was like, oh crap, this thing is gonna happen, and it didn't happen, it happened elsewhere, which honestly, considering it's a fight, is for the best, because the fight arena would have been way too small, and was way too small originally, so they changed it, and that's nice. So when they change things, so far, again, they seem to be for the better, but it only seems to be gameplay things that they've changed. It doesn't seem to be story, which leads me to believe that it's probably going to be fine. They probably knew that messing with the story in any way, other than maybe updating it a little bit to sound more natural, was not going to go well for them, because the story is kind of the whole thing with Silent Hill 2. And since we're on to the story, the briefest summary I can give without giving anything away is that James Sunderland gets a letter from his wife Mary to meet him in Silent Hill, but she's been dead for years. And he's like, what the hell is this all about? So he goes to find her, because of course he does. He doesn't, like, think this is a bad thing. And then he enters Silent Hill, and surprise, it's a bad thing. And I am not going to elaborate on the story any more than that, because experiencing it, again, is the point. But so far, the environments, obviously, they look better, but they're very, very much how I remember them. Like, they look very similar. There's a lot of stuff where you're collecting, say, the flashlight or something. They've set it up exactly how it was in the original, and I don't know if the puzzles are the same. I doubt they're exactly the same, although I don't remember. But the puzzles are there. I put it on standard combat difficulty, which, I mean, the frickin' leg mannequins, I don't remember what they're called, are beating the shit out of me, so that was a bad idea. But I put the puzzle difficulty on standard as well, and it is okay. I can solve them, which is nice. But I don't know if the puzzles are the same, but it's not really important anyway. There are puzzles in it, and that's all you really need. But as I'm going through, as I went through the apartments, that's the first area, and just other places, they look very much like how my brain remembers them looking. Like, the layout and stuff looks very similar. The hospital rooms look very much like they did in the original game. I don't know if they one-for-one copied everything, but it seems like they pretty nearly did. Also, thankfully, it doesn't seem like they've tried to add open world bits to it or do side quests or anything like that, because that would just ruin it, honestly. So I'm glad they didn't try to expand it in that way. I don't think it would work, I don't think it would be a good idea, and I don't think they have. So, good news all around. So that's all I can really give you right now. Like I said, I haven't made it to the end yet, so I don't know how they've done it. From what I can tell so far, they probably haven't changed it at all, and I don't know why you would, when it's one of the best video games. Like, that's the reason Silent Hill 2 is so fondly remembered by so many people. It's the story, and it's the end of the story specifically, and how you arrive at the end of that story that is kind of why this game is the one that they chose to remake. Not that the others don't deserve it, 1 and 3. Specifically, 4 you can get, I have it on PC, so that's not as much of a problem, but like, that's why they picked 2 first, I think, because it's the one that everyone remembers, because it's the one with the story. And I think they've done it justice. I think they've actually managed to do the Resident Evil remake injection of life with the Silent Hill franchise, which is so nice. I just hope that whichever of the many projects Konami has on the go right now, whichever one comes out next, doesn't suck again. I really hope it doesn't suck. I really hope it doesn't. But at least this one's good, so we have something. It's the first good Silent Hill game that I think has been released since probably Silent Hill 4. I don't like any of the ones after Silent Hill 4, and I've played most of them. I got through Downpour at least, but I didn't like it very much. I don't think I finished Homecoming, so it's nice to see that this is good. Those are my thoughts so far anyway. Let me know what you think of this remake down in the comments below. Do you believe me when I say that it's good? It is. I'm not lying. Do you have any interest in it? Have you picked it up? Were you waiting for reviews? And like, the reviews are pretty universally saying it. Some of them are giving it better scores than the original. I don't know about that yet. Like, I don't know if it deserves that, because it's basically just the original with better graphics. So I don't think that's fair. But, you know, what do you think? Have you experienced it for yourself? Or are you waiting a little bit? Let me know. And I'll see you next time.